Hello and welcome back to Effortless Investor, the place where we grow our investments one humble pound at a time. And today we're diving into exactly what my £1,620-ish dividend portfolio paid me in July 2025. Spoiler alert, it may have been the best month for my dividends so far. I'll also be comparing the dividends from July this year to last year to see how it stacks up. If you want to skip straight to the dividend breakdown, as always, feel free to use the timestamps in the description. But if you would like to see me ramble through my entire portfolio, pop that kettle on, brew yourself a cuppa, and let's get into it. Starting with an overall look at the portfolio for this month, you can see that it has climbed by 8.3%, which is brilliant growth. That equates to £125.62 in unrealised gains, which again is really good growth given that my benchmark is 9% average per year. I've added another £100 to the portfolio this month, which takes the total net deposits to £1,340. If we compare the growth to July 2024, we can see there's a significant difference of almost 10%. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's interesting to look back nonetheless. That 8.3% gain this month has also helped the overall recovery for the year, as we're now up to a 0.51% gain for the year, which improves from the minus 5% at the end of last month. Another strong month in August, and I should be further back in the green for 2025. Moving on now to the EI growth pie, my slice of the portfolio that's aiming for capital appreciation over dividend yields. Think of these as the plants I'm watering now, hoping for a future jungle of wealth. This month, the growth pie is up 6.9%, which is over double the amount of growth from June. Slow and steady, as always, is the aim here with this pie. We're getting increasingly close to that £1,000 invested in this pie, and I'm sure I'm going to hit that next month. If we take a look at each holding, starting with my all-world index fund VWRL, it's had a nice positive month with 6.15% of gain, continuing its recovery from the beginning of the year and getting closer to hitting a new all-time high. VWRL did pay a dividend this month, and what a dividend it was, and I'll get into that shortly. But before I do, let's check out the other ETF in this pie, which is my Nasdaq tracker EQQQ. It's also had a really good month of gain at 8.36%. EQQQ is also nearing its all-time high that it hit back in January. Let's hope for another strong month. Now, moving on to the pie that does send me money while I sleep, the EI income pie. This one's built for passive income with dividend reliability in mind, along with some minor growth because even dividend investors deserve capital appreciation too. If we have a look at the growth first, we can see that the income pie has produced a nice gain of 5.6%, which is fantastic given that it's not the primary focus of the pie. I've seen some strong growth from some of the big contributors in this pie, specifically with JGGI and VHYL both being over the 5% for the month. AstraZeneca has had a good recovery in the last week, gaining 4%. BATS has continued to perform by growing another 9% this month. Main Street Capital has outperformed them all by gaining 9.8% this month. There has been very little loss this month, which I think only National Grid being down 1%. Hopefully we can continue to see some growth from these assets, although I don't expect them to quite grow as significantly as they have this month. They did send me some lovely payments this month. More on that in the dividend section, which I'll get to very shortly. But before we get to the dividends, let's have a look at my long-term picks. These are the stocks I'm holding with the kind of optimism only an investor with £1,620 can truly understand. I'm talking rockets that will take this portfolio to the moon, or possibly a 5-digit figure at the very least. Starting as always with the most promising of the bunch, Palantir. I have not added to my position since November 2024, and I'm unlikely to do that directly. Palantir has had another excellent month, going up 17.14%. I mentioned in the last portfolio update that I was starting to think about selling. I've decided not to. I'm just going to keep riding with it at least until November 2025, and then maybe I'll reassess. Now, for those of you that have watched the previous portfolio updates will notice that there are some significant changes to the long-term picks, or the moonshots as I previously called them. I had mentioned that I was evaluating a number of the moonshot picks, and ultimately I decided to sell a number of them, namely Fortress Biotech, Xiaomi, Archer Aviation, Hims & Hers Health, cooler technologies, and lastly, high tide. The reason for this being that during my research of them, I came across a managed fund, which typically I would stay away from due to the higher associated fees. That fund being the ARK Innovation Accumulation Fund, ticker symbol ARKK. While my interest in a lot of the moonshot picks had cooled, the more research I did on the stocks contained within the ARKK fund, the more my confidence in it rose. I won't go into any more detail for ARKK. If you'd like me to make a separate video on it, pop a note in the comments. Essentially, I decided after my research to redistribute the funds from the sales of those moonshot picks into the ARKK fund. Now, although it's not indicative of future performance, ARKK is up 7.92% for me since investing in it. If that kind of growth continues, it will help validate ARKK as an asset in my portfolio. I'm likely to continue to increase my position in this fund month on month for the foreseeable future. Nintendo has had a down month with a loss of 10.77%. I'm still waiting for the figures from the Switch 2 sales to have an impact, but that may take a couple of months. And Rigetti still holds a place in my portfolio for now. It is up 26.9% for the month, but I am in the process of considering selling my position and reinvesting it in ARKK. And now, the reason you all clicked on the video to begin with. It's time for the July 2025 dividends. What did the portfolio actually pay me? This month was by a significant margin my best month for dividends so far. I received a grand total of £4.27 in dividends. Imagine how delicious that Starbucks coffee would taste, knowing it cost me nothing. I'd be living the dream. But I don't drink coffee, so maybe I'll just reinvest the dividends. In all seriousness, let's take a look at the dividend breakdown per asset. Starting with the largest dividend, which was from VWRL at £1.92, which is far and away the largest single dividend I've received to date. It was only 2p less than the entire dividends received for June. Now, although I sold my stake in VUSA, I still received the dividend for this month, which was 67p. VHYL was slightly higher at 71p. National Grid was the next highest at 29p. JEIP, JEGP and JEQP followed with 14p, 14p and 18p respectively. Next was SMIF, returning a dividend of 16p. And bringing up the rear was Main Street Capital with an earth-shattering 5p. Now let's compare this to last July, which I appreciate isn't fair, but I'm doing it anyway. In July of 2024, which was the first full month I started investing, I received total dividends of 8 whole pence. Compare that to this month, July 2025, and I have an increase in dividends of 5,237%. Boom! Proof that consistent investing, even in small amounts, really does add up over time. Whether or not that level of increase will continue, only time will tell. I remember receiving that 8p dividend and feeling like monthly dividend returns of £1 were light years away. In actuality, it took less than 6 months. So what can I surmise from this waltz through my portfolio? Firstly, dividends are growing. Slowly but steadily. Secondly, growth stocks are doing their thing, quietly working in the background. And thirdly, patience pays, even if it currently pays in loose change. Remember, this portfolio started from zero, with modest monthly contributions. It's living proof that small investments can turn into something meaningful over time. If you enjoyed this breakdown, feel free to give the video a like and subscribe for more monthly updates. It really helps grow the channel. If you're interested in a full year retrospective of my portfolio, feel free to check out this video on the right of the screen. I'll be back next month with new dividends, new growth, and probably the same whimsy. Until then, keep it simple, keep it realistic, and keep it effortless.